Well, if I wasn't good enough at making content that would piss off fan base of one sport, we're going to do another one. So, today what I've decided to do is, as an NRL fan, I'm going to try and predict the 2026 AFL ladder. And basically, I'll be doing this without any help. Basically, any type of knowledge that I have when it comes to Aussie rules football, from news or whatever, I've just got to pick up. I haven't even looked at last year's ladder because I want to go into this completely blind and just see how well I do. I'm not one of these people that are bigged up into the Code Wars type of thing. Like, I do quite like the AFL, it's just I prefer watching the NRLs. It's not like the incessant bitching that you see usually when it comes to NRL versus AFL, because most of the time it just ends up looking like this. So yeah, I'm fine with it. Been to a couple of games, not as a recent. I think 2019 was the most recent one I've been to, and I do know a couple of things from last season that Adelaide were the minor premiers, and then, like the NRL minor premiers, decided to just biff it in the finals. And I know the grand final was between Brisbane and Geelong, with Brisbane winning their second of what could be a dynasty building and whatnot. So, see, without further ado, let's get started. So here we are now at the tier list. We got the tiers. We do have to address the elephant in the room, the wild cards. I think it's stupid. Like, why fix something that didn't need it to be fixed? But it's just, it's AFL and NRL, when it comes to their differences, they're very similar in terms of their higher-ups of just making unnecessary changes. Like, I could already see probably Peter V'landys peeking in saying, oh, it's pretty interesting. Then you got 11th, 14th, missing finals, bottom 4 and wooden spoon. And we've got all 18 teams. So without further ado, let's start this. So the first team on here is the Essendon Bombers. Now, I do know that I think the big type of meme space about them is essentially that they don't win finals matches. I'm pretty certain it can drink now if someone was born the day after they last won a finals match. I think Essendon, they seem to be around, because there's been a lot of talk and memes about it, so I think they must be within this sort of window. I'm going to put them in here. Whether this will count if they do win the finals match or whatever, who knows, but I think right around there is good for them. Now we move on to the Carlton Blues. Now, this is probably going to be the first controversial take in this video. They have the worst team song in the competition. It is such a... Essentially, to describe it, it's like... Imagine, kick off the siren, and you just hear, and it's just building, like the atmosphere, the crowd's going mental, and then you put on what is essentially Post-Nut Clarity, the song. But they've been alright. They've been on this upper echelon bit, I think, for the last little bit. I reckon they're going to be possibly lower end here, upper tier of this. I reckon we're going to whack them here. Shocking? I don't know. Now we're going to go with the Geelong Cats. Now, obviously, they were grand finalists last year. I'm pretty certain they were in the top 4, and they've done pretty well. I do know that they're hot on shop. I do believe he's at the club. Bailey Smith is essentially like a Kalen Ponga figure, I suppose. I believe there was a Tinder ad with him in it, and all the comments were about, oh, they finally found him after the grand final because he went missing, so that's some pretty good banter as well. But I reckon they're probably going to be up here again. I'm going to put them above Carlton. Now we move on to Crom themselves, the Adelaide Crows. Obviously, this is the old logo, so I do know they've got a new one. One thing I will say, it's a rebrand that's done right. I think some NRL clubs can take note of that. But yeah, obviously, were here last season, but just couldn't get a win. So usually I expect it to drop off a little bit because I'm pretty certain there's no consistent minor premiers like it has been with the NRL, I'd say. So they'll probably still be in the finals. I reckon they're going to be in this bit. I reckon Geelong will be higher than them. The Melbourne Demons, right. So, but where are the Demons? I don't think they made the finals last year, but I don't know if they particularly suck. I reckon we're going to put them in here for the time being, but they could drop down low. We'll just see what happens. The Western Bulldogs. Now, this is an interesting one. For a long while, I thought they were a WA team purely because of the Western in the name, but that was when I was a kid. I've now grown up and I know they're from West Melbourne, Footscray and that. So where would they be? Pretty certain they were like right on the cusp of the finals. Like I'm pretty certain they were like really close last year. I think so. I reckon they just might drop down a little bit. I reckon I'm going to put them here, but they're going to be above Melbourne. West Coast. Now, I think from like what's been happening the last couple of years is both the Western Australian teams haven't been going that greatly, is what I believe is the consensus. So I've got to think that, yeah, they're probably going to be around like this aspect. I mean, they could slowly start to improve. I don't know. I reckon I'm going to put West Coast here. Fremantle had the best theme song when I was growing up. Like I played AFL, was it 2006 or 2007 on the PS2. I also used to play the mascot DS game, if anyone remembers that. But yeah, I think they're sort of like in this sort of like bracket, whether or not they change or whatever. But this lot has probably the best team song out there. It's just an absolute belter. Just the big sound of the west of the town, and they've probably got the best social media presence out of all of them because they just bitch about the Swans. And so yeah, I'm pretty certain they made the finals last year. I reckon I see them in that wild card spot. Now we're going into the Hawthorn Hawks. Now growing up, this was the team because they were just in grand finals very, very consistently. I'm assuming they dropped off in the last couple of years, but they're starting to call themselves back up, so they're starting to go all right. One bit of niche thing is it was I don't know if anyone's going to remember this. Here it is. Here, this video.
All right, that was a fucking joke. Soft as fucking piss. Second to the ball, playing like bunch of fucking girls. That free kick down in St Kilda's. Fuck you, dogs! It's on not the same.
But yeah, going back to the Hawks on that little tangent, they're definitely on the up. I reckon they're going to be in the finals picture. I reckon, yeah, why not? I reckon put them above Geelong. Yeah, there we go. And now move on to North Melbourne. Kangaroo. Yeah, there's I think just for that, just for that chant, it seems like a wooden spoon chant, so I'll just put them there. Brisbane. Yeah, they're starting to become the bit of a Panther streak at the moment. 3 straight grand finals, and they've won 2 of them. I don't know if they've won a minor premiership. They are this year, but Collingwood. You gotta love Collingwood. Or hate them. Mostly hate. I think they're still pretty alright. You'd have to think. Oh, I reckon. I don't know. I'm actually gonna make a little bit of a change here. I'm gonna put Collingwood there. Or do I keep it like that? Okay, we'll revise at the end. Port Adelaide. They're an alright team from what my memory has. That's all I can say really on them. I reckon slot them in that sort of wild card spot. I don't know. St Kilda. I know that there's the whole. That chick that starts off the chant and just starts bellowing is the only way to describe it. So, where would they be? I reckon they'd probably be somewhere around here, I reckon. Right, the Suns. The Suns did make the finals for the first time last year, from memory. And I'm pretty certain they also won their finals match as well. So, that's some good stuff for them. I think they might just... I reckon they just seem to be like a little drop off a little bit hungover from last year, so we'll do something like that. Right, the Swans. I feel like if technically I was to support a team, it'd probably be this one, because all the games I've been to have been Swans games. And when I first started watching AFL, this was the only team in Sydney, before obviously this lot came in, the Giants. I reckon they make the wild card. I reckon we do something like that, so it's like, okay, so it's a Sydney derby, because I'm pretty certain it's 7th versus 10th and 8th versus 9th in the wildcard spots. Finally, Richmond have fallen off a lot in bits, but I mean, they had also a pretty decent generational run. Yeah, I reckon somewhere like here. Do I make any changes to this? I reckon Collingwood might finish higher than Adelaide. You know what? I think we're good. I think we've got it. So without further ado, that's our ladder. Did I do good? I don't know. I'm probably going to go start editing this and see that I've done terribly. But yeah, who do you guys think is going to win the AFL this year? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all later.